This guy.
Good morning, or good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're listening to this, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on Periscope, whether it's on YouTube, or whether it's on podcast. We want to welcome you this morning to a Teacher's 31 Days of Prayer. This season, we are calling it Setting the Stage, because that's what you're doing in your classroom. You are setting up an atmosphere for success for your students and for yourself. And what you are doing is beginning your day or ending your day or taking a break within the day to give that day in your classroom to the Lord. This morning, I have a special friend with me, Angela Glazebrook. We've worked together for a couple of years now. Good morning, Angela.
Good morning.
How are you?
It's Andrea.
I know that.
I know you do.
I know this. I know this.
It's okay. Good morning or good afternoon now. Close to afternoon.
It's close to afternoon. It is. In Texas, heat is kicking in. I got my water well getting fixed. I mean, we got all kinds of crazy things going on this morning. So why don't you tell us about the scripture today?
Well, today we're going to read Hebrews 12:11, which is talking about discipline.
Your favorite topic?
Yes, it is, especially since that's what I teach at school now, is discipline. A lot of behavior issues. So this really was a good one for me because with this teaching, that's one thing that we seem to have gone away from is discipline with our children. We seem to think that if we discipline, that's a bad thing. Mm-hmm. And when it's really not a bad thing, it teaches our kids so many other things. Respect for other people, respect for property, respect for personal space, respect. And people seem to think that if I discipline you, that means I don't love you, I don't care about you. And I think that's a totally wrong aspect to take with that. I mean, I think if you do discipline, then it shows how much more you do care about them.
I like what the writer of the Hebrew says, that, no discipline it doesn't feel good in the beginning. Mm-hmm. It doesn't feel good because we want to be good at things. When we try things, we don't like failing at it. But I have to respect somebody that tries to guide me. And, it doesn't always feel good, but I love knowing that I can fix it and come back and make it better. And so, we go through teacher evaluations. We're being judged by parents. We're being judged by teachers. We're being judged by our coworkers. And instead of judging, sometimes, we probably need to maybe help cultivate a little bit more. But anyway, I don't want to get off because we are talking about discipline.
Yeah. And discipline can be many things. It doesn't mean necessarily a spanking or something like that or a timeout. Discipline can also be being disciplined to study and not goof off.
Yes.
It can be discipline on how we speak to people instead of just blurting out something. You learn discipline in different ways just to be able to do something more accurately than off the wall sometimes.
Right. I like off the wall.
I do too, but not everybody does.
Oh, that's true.
And so you have to learn a little discipline that, okay, this person might not like this way. And so you have to kind of get yourself back and go, okay, I can do it a different way. I can try a different thing.
So tell me about a time in your life where you needed more discipline and you had to possibly hone in on some of your teaching stuff.
Well, school was one of my worst. I was dyslexic and I was in special ed a lot of my time growing up in school.
So you were in special education.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so tell me about the progression of special education now and special education then. You go ahead and talk to the people while I answer my door.
Well, special education back when I was in school was more or less what we now call the 504 plan, which is just basically teaching you how to write, read, do math, but they didn't know about dyslexia. They didn't know about other needs that you had. It usually was, I remember a lot was being told, you're not paying attention enough. You're not studying enough. You need to reread it several more times. I wouldn't grasp exactly what they were talking about. So I got in trouble a lot. My dad was dyslexic too. And so he went by how he was taught, So his parents made him reread things and rewrite things. So a punishment for me, I remember one time, was I failed something. And he goes, you need to reread it, and then I want you to write an essay on it. Okay, well, I'm having difficulties with writing, so me writing an essay wasn't always the best thing to do. And then he was dyslexic, so he was trying to teach me, and he wasn't. It would be a hot mess sometimes. But even with that, as much as I hated it, it made me want to perfect things.
Okay.
And I really did. I learned how to reread passages 3 or 4 times to get the gist of it. I learned little techniques for myself on how to.
Make sure we have any comments.
Like find a dictionary to look up words, because that's one thing I still have a problem with. One good thing about laptops and computers now is they autocorrect or help you correct. But back then you would have to have a dictionary. So I would carry around a little dictionary.
See, but the thing with the dictionary, my mom I would ask her how to spell something. She's like, get a dictionary. Well, I can't spell it to look it up in the dictionary. And so
my mom was the same way. Sound it out, and then you can, and I'm like,
and I can't, to this day, I cannot sound out a word if I don't know it, if I don't know it, by having it site-based, I cannot. And thank God for spell check on computers, or I would have never gotten to college, and I wouldn't have, it just wouldn't have happened. If I would have had to literally write, I really got nervous, when teachers wanted us to write the thing, because, I still have that problem with and I like to take notes. I try to take notes and work on that, but there's a lot of times there's a disconnect, and even when I write it, from here to there, and so students with dyslexia, they have that. We need to keep them writing, so let's not twist that. We need to keep them writing. But we need to have alternative forms of help set in place. What do you suggest for somebody that has dyslexia to help? Because they do get frustrated, but they do need to keep writing. That is the thing.
That was the one thing that helped me, was that my dad made me keep writing over and over again. That's the one thing. I have to write the word there over and over and over again to remember it's E before I, and all the little techniques that you learned.
And it was almost like that I before E is except after C was a myth.
Yes. Oh, yes. And for me, that was the best thing. I just keep writing and keep writing and keep writing, even if it's doing it on a computer and, instead of handwriting, typing it out. But it's just keep practicing till your brain catches it.
I'm doing a lot of moving around, y'all. As you can see, this is not staged. This is real. You get it how you're going. I don't know how to edit and stuff yet, but as I progress, you'll progress with me. But it is what it is. You get it how I give it.
So for me, that was the one thing that helped me with discipline. My dad doing the discipline, because it was one thing I think if he hadn't made me keep writing and doing all the things, I don't think I would have progressed in college. I would have given up.
Okay, so how does that help you going through all that? How did that help you as a teacher?
Determination. Mm-hmm. And now that I work with kids with that, I can understand them, and I don't get frustrated with them when they're not able to. And so I can go back and help them and say, these are techniques I used. Maybe try those. And if those don't work, we can look up other techniques that might work for you. And so something works for you to be able to be successful. Mm-hmm. And that's a problem nowadays, is because kids, they get handed something and told this is the way and the only way, instead of saying, well, that might not work for you, what worked for me, but something else might work for you. And so I think that opens up some doors.
Okay. That's good. And so what are some final words you want to leave with everybody today?
Just never give up.
Okay. And so give the we have teachers, whether it's teachers of the word, teachers in the classroom, we have paras, custodians, everybody, principals, whatever, whoever may be watching these videos. What kind of strategy would you like to leave?
Well, discipline's not a bad word.
Right.
We need
Punishment
to learn
is a bad word.
Right, but discipline is a totally different thing. I mean, we confuse those terms, and we need to stop confusing them. Giving somebody a timeout or disciplining them for a bad behavior teaches them not to do that again, such as a child who touches a stove. You don't want them to keep touching the stove. You want them to learn not to touch the stove. So,
without having to be burned.
Right. So sometimes with discipline, that's what you're trying to get across to them. Quit doing that act so you can be more successful. So for me, that's what I would like teachers, principals, everybody to understand is just because what you expect from one person isn't necessarily what you should be expecting from everybody, and quit using us all as one group in that regard. We're all individuals, so sometimes we're going to do things a little bit different than somebody else, but we need to keep.
And there should be autonomy in the classroom.
But we should have one strict way of doing everything and keep that in the classrooms.
Okay. All right. You pray us out of here today.
Well, Lord, I would like to thank you for today and letting me be with Tyra and everybody else. And I hope that everybody can be successful in whatever adventure that they try to take on in their lives. And that, disciplining is not going to be a bad thing as long as you do it within your heart for love and for respect of other people. So with God's divine intervention, I'd like to say thank you to him and everybody else, and amen for helping us out today.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll see you for tomorrow. Bye. Day 6 will be tomorrow. This was day 5 with Setting the Stage, a Teacher's 31-Day Devotional. And don't forget, order your books if you haven't. And I also give you spaces to keep notes and journals so you can always pull these off when, the Lord gives you something for your classroom or for you. And so, bye. Have a great day.